and SBTC. But more importantly, I am joined by Coach Tim in the commentary booth. And Tim, it is your first time in the commentary booth here for the Vietnamese Championship Series. How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I was a bit excited maybe to see the first invade immediately go into this first game, but it is Emperor backing off, and I'm excited. Also, I'm already starting it off great because I'm already gonna tell my analysts that I actually like Saigon Buffalo's team comp a bit more.
Okay.
I think I really like those long range pick team comps together with the Viego, because with TF, with the Jace range and the Jin and Karma follow up, you have great possibilities for resets, and then if I look on the other side, you have Akali, Lee Sin, Aurelia. Those are great champions to actually get resets on as Viego. So if they can one-shot one of those frontliners with a high range and pick potential, I think it's good team fights for BJ.
So for Saigon Buffalo, it's all about trying to get that first kill in the fight, trying to get the reset, all of the damage onto one member. We'll see whether that does happen. Now, an interesting fact that I do want to bring up for this series is we talked about how important this series is in terms of playoff hopes, as Aurelia trying to trade against Hazmed's Jace, but Hazmed has range and is just able to bully out Emperor off the back end of it. So, both of these teams are the only two teams in the split who have taken a game off GAM. Just one game for each of the teams.
Yeah, it's interesting that both of these teams have really high highs, right? I think that's what's telling us. So far, SBTC's lows were maybe a bit lower at some points, but specifically in the last few games, they were really outstanding. And we're looking at just a top lane here in Emperor, and I'm so excited to see his Aurelia, because Aurelia specifically is a champion that can turn games on its head on its own, basically. But first, we see maybe a bit of a bot gank here. DNK was hovering, but a good ward hit to spot it out. So I'm excited to see what Emperor can do, but I think he's getting shut down already.
Well, BJ looking to the top side. BJ has been magnificent in Spring Split so far. Emperor flashing away. One more auto is enough, and it comes through. Hazmed picks up first blood, and 2T's teleport is a little bit too late to be able to pick up one kill off the back end of the fight. Saigon Buffalo start the game strong.
Yeah, but I actually really do like the TP from Akali, because there's a chance that he gets a trade kill, of course, but really just means he gets to take the top wave, and then Emperor immediately TPs mid lane with this low death cooldown and just takes mid wave. And in the first place, I think both matchups into TF, of course, are good matchups, so I think they can even keep this lane state for a bit and just wait out until they have a good window to swap back and then see where that leads them. So overall, TP didn't really lose anything much. But of course, with DNK's gank and bot lane not really working, it's a small lead here for Saigon Buffalo.
The thing that we have to remember as well is that with SBTC using up 2 of their teleports, now Saigon Buffalo have 2 teleports available. And yes, there have been the changes to teleport, which means you can't make those aggressive TP plays down in bot, but it could still be a useful asset for Saigon Buffalo. And as I say that, Hazmed teleports back into the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, it is to be expected. Those early TPs, as you said, did get nerfed and did get changed. So mostly just used to get back to lane quickly. Froggy will probably use one as well. I mean, he doesn't have to at this moment because his wave is actually pushed out. But often we still see it just for tempo, because that first TP is just not really worth anything, since you don't really want to keep the TP on cooldown until minute 14.
Now, during the analyst test, we talked about quite a few players. Specifically, one was Enpers. We see a good dredge line in the bottom lane. Taki taken down rather low, and Saigon Buffalo will get a fair bit of return damage onto Palette, and the Ignite is ticking down. Shogun has to reload. Celebrity can't get the kill onto Taki. Good 90 caliber net into the Piltover Peacemaker, and I think it's SEU come out of this trade on top.
And top lane again from DNK. But again, he's thwarted. Again, he can't really do anything, and Emperor is taking so much damage on the back end. So good trade here from Hazmed, who's really playing on the edge. And there we see what Karma into Nautilus can do, because Karma, with her Empowered W, can just tank the damage from both Caitlyn and Nautilus and then just turn it back. And in the end, I think it went fine for both sides, but that can be really risky if Jin has a bit more damage to his name.
Emperor misses the flawless duet. Oh, he eats the Empowered Shock Blast. Froggy is looking here as well, but DNK to the rescue. This will keep Emperor safe under his tower, and DNK will assist Emperor in clearing out his minion wave. Hazmed goes in under tower to find Darkbind. So much side steps on the wild cards, and Emperor survives. That was risky, that was greedy, but Emperor doesn't get punished.
Yeah, but right now SBTC has a huge problem. They have 3 losing lanes into Saigon's draft. We can see they're getting pushed in on every single lane, which meant that they went for a top lane play with numbers advantage because mid lane couldn't move. 2T was still standing under his turret. On the other side, BNJ could also take the Drake with the bot lane priority. So they actually have the ability to force on both sides of the map simultaneously, and that's a huge advantage. We have to see how that continues, because if SGB actually gets more priority, especially out of mid lane, especially out of Froggy, that can be really risky for SBTC to play further on.
For a 1,000 goal lead for the side of Saigon Buffalo, 6.5 minutes into this game, which brings me on to what I think is actually one of the most important points coming into the series, and it's something that we couldn't discuss during the analyst desk, which is the fact that SBTC have had a common habit recently of falling behind in the early stages of the game. We saw it in both of their games against Cerberus, where Cerberus got something ridiculous like an 8,000 goal lead. SBTC were able to turn it around. We saw it in their series against Luxury, and now a 3-man gank on the top side. The Destiny available for Froggy, and instantly it opens up the map for Saigon Buffalo, and they get a second kill of the game onto Emperor's Irelia.
Yeah, and Milky, I think they have to do it in this game once again. They're falling behind further and further. That mid lane priority is really hurting, and we can see the TF is even ahead in CS plus his passive, so he is also sitting on a lot of gold, which means if he gets an early Everfrost, that can be really, really hard to deal with, because it's just extra to see. It's basically, I mean, pointing, not really point and click, but it should be more than point and click as a spell. It's really easy to hit, so overall, very easy. And we see the execution up here. It's just nothing Emperor can do. He can't escape this. And it's just another kill over to Hazmet, who is dominating this laning phase so far.
And I think it was in the series against... It was either Cerberus or Luxury. I believe it was the Cerberus series where they kept on focusing Emperor time after time again. But eventually he was able to get back into this game. And when we look at these two teams and we think about players' performances back in the winter split, I think these two teams have most of the players who have improved dramatically from winter to spring. A hook almost under tower onto Taki. A lot of damage. And the final auto is a headshot. And Taki, shot in the head, will fall. And it's going to be on Celebrity to tank a lot of these shots, but that fourth shot is going to be big. Doesn't find any members of the SE bottom lane as 2T looks for the play onto Froggy. I don't think he landed the Shuriken flip, and Froggy will end up picking up the kill onto 2T.
And in top lane, a dive onto Hazmet.
They've got the slow, flawless duet land, Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike. Emperor will Blade Surge his way out of the tower, but now BNJ making his way up. We talk about
does not have ultimate
of the reset, but as you mentioned, he doesn't have an ultimate available. He's going to do a fair bit of work onto DNK. Emperor not willing to help out in what was a 2v1, so it becomes effectively a 1v1, good flawless duet, but I think BNJ was able to sidestep it. Under tower, BNJ ends up picking up the kill. Taki would be greedy to go for anything further, but Saigon Buffalo just get another kill. BNJ playing it fantastically well.
Yeah, and we've seen this Viego and Lee Sin matchup so often, and it should be the Lee Sin getting it in early game, forcing over and over again. But so far, it's BNJ on this Viego, just dominating the jungle through and through. And you can see here in mid lane, 2T was trying to get the outplay in the end, got killed by the red buff and the red smite, and just got run down. And that also means that Herald's going down, and probably first turret is also going down, because you can see with especially Hazmet or even Froggy, you can have a lot of damage on towards those turrets. Can easily take them down and get a first one. Probably on top lane, I would expect Froggy to push out, take his ultimate top, and then maybe go for another dive onto Emperor, set the Herald, and get the first turret.
And now BNJ looking towards the top side, looking to make this dive onto Emperor, who just can't catch a break. Already 20 CS down, has the Rift Herald available, and this might even be a 10-minute tower fall. Teleport from 2T to assist onto Emperor, but this is a 3v2 as Froggy has made his way up with the Destiny, but Saigon Buffalo will back away. Meanwhile, we've got a play on the bottom side. You make an aggressive play on the top side, Saigon Buffalo. SE will make one on the bottom side. It becomes a 1-for-1 as DNK ends up falling. The Curtain Call will find a slow onto Palette. This will allow Froggy to get into range, landing the gold card onto Celebrity, into the Deadly Flourish. The autos come through and Celebrity has nowhere to go. It's an easy kill, another gold card. Now it's on to Palette. He's got no flash. He's running for his life, but this time it's a blue card. I don't think Froggy actually wanted to go for the gold card, and Palette will survive.
And in their answers and in the productivity, there's always SGB one step ahead. They're always just It feels like they're always forcing the plays and never getting countered on. And here we see the first real play forced by DNK immediately goes wrong. Immediately he gets run down, and then bot lane turret also falls in continuation. Emperor top lane.
Emperor's flashing in, lands a flawless duet. He wants his revenge, and he will get it. You know what they say, once the Aurelia has a Vampiric Scepter, it's already at full build.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that is plated steel caps as well coming in, and it just giving her that tankiness that she needs. On the other hand, there's already an Eclipse now finished on base for Hazmet, so he should be back in the game because that first item is so strong. Here, we are looking back at the bot dive. DNK going a bit too deep, giving 1 kill over to Shogun, and then a good chase here from Froggy and Shogun, just being able to run down Celebrity, who is stepping back into the lane.
Yeah, and it was that step back into the lane that really threw it for Celebrity. In the picture-in-picture, we can see SE being able to pick up the Drake, the second Drake of the game. But I really just want to highlight it, not just as a reminder to ourselves, but as a reminder to our viewers in chat. Do not get baited by the fact that SE are down in gold. Yes, it is a very tricky position. Yes, you'd have to be crazy to say that Saigon Buffalo are not dominating this game, but we have seen SE in this situation before. We have seen them come back, and that's not necessarily to say that they will come back, but it's to keep yourself aware of the possibility that it could happen.
Yeah, but I also feel like it's so hard to get back into the team comp of Saigon Buffalo. They have so much range, so much potential to just pick you off every time you step and try to force any play. TF is such a hard champion. It's a basically useless champion if the TF and his team fall behind. But if you get ahead, it's an absolute monster on the map, and there's nothing you can really do. And the same is kind of true for Jin, for Karma. All of these champions are absolute monsters if you get ahead in the game. But Emperor could be the small hope here for SBTC, because he just won that 1v1 into Hazmet, and that shouldn't really happen if you shut him down this hard.
And that's what Saigon Buffalo tried to do. They tried to shut down Emperor's Irelia, and BJ did that fantastically well. And the point that I was trying to bring up earlier was how the performances of some of the players in the VCS have shifted from winter to spring. And I think on SE and Saigon Buffalo, there are a couple of players who really show that. I think Emperor was average in winter, maybe a bit below average. He improved a lot. Palette is night and day compared to winter. Yeah. I think DNK has had so many more highs as well. But Saigon Buffalo, BJ and Froggy have been looking like the masters that we saw in spring. Masters that I never got to see. So I only got to see their performances in winter, and I thought, what's all the hype about BJ and Froggy? These guys aren't good. But here in spring, they have been phenomenal.
Yeah, I looked back because Farm was such a big thing for Froggy in that winter split, and I looked, he had average 7.2. That has improved to 7.8 CS a minute for him, but he's still below most mid laners in the VCS when it comes to farm. But he's also playing a lot of those roaming mid laners, the Galio, the TF. So you would expect him being down a few CS at least. And the gap isn't as big as it was. It was over 1 CS on average per minute that he was missing towards those other top mid laners. That's not the case anymore. And I think that's a huge improvement for him, because it just means you have more gold. And if you have more gold on those roaming champions, you can just make more roams, get more priority, and make sure that your team actually gets ahead.
Yeah, I'm just looking back as well to who Saigon Buffalo faced off against last week. Actually, it was against GAM. And I think it was Froggy who had a CS lead over Carti. So he's showing that he can now go toe-to-toe with the best mid laners in the league, not just in terms of mechanical plays, but also in terms of that farming, which is something that maybe was lacking for him a bit in the past. Either way, Saigon Buffalo now find themselves with a 4,000 gold lead. And I'm just thinking where that gold is, because right now it's looking like it's probably going to be mostly on Shogun, as we've got to play on the top side again. Saigon Buffalo being proactive. 2T will use a perfect execution, but is burning down with a red buff. BJ doesn't even need it. Picks up the kill with the Blade of the Ruin King.
Yeah, and on top of course, Shogun having good gold advantage, probably it's also BJ in the jungle. He probably has the biggest gold gap out of anybody. He had so many platings as well with the Herald, so he should fairly be ahead. And then in top lane, Hazmet also got a decent amount of plating, so probably a small gold lead there as well. And we can see SGB there just forcing and forcing. There's nothing really SBTC can do to answer, because they just can't keep up with the map mobility that Saigon has.
And it's, as you said, when a Twisted Fates team gets ahead, it can become really difficult to play against. If the Twisted Fates team falls behind, it's very difficult to make much happen. But for Saigon Buffalo, they are well and truly ahead. A 3,500 gold lead right now. We've got a Drake up in 40 seconds time, and SE have been able to deny one Drake away, which just puts a 5-minute delay on the soul point, as this is how 2T died. Fairly standard Destiny roam from Froggy.
Yeah, and that's the big strength of TF into Akali as well, is that Akali can't go invisible. In her shroud, she's always visible if TF will to stare, which for teamfight just means it's so much harder for Akali to play, because so much of her safety just comes from her W, comes from being able to go invisible and then have that high mobility on a bit of a cooldown. So that is just a huge advantage for the teamfight, and means that 2T will have less impact than we might expect from an Akali, even in the later stages of the game, where often we see Akalis completely pop off.
And now Saigon Buffalo crash on into the outer tower. DNK finds a good kick. It's on to Shogun. The Frost drop down, but DNK goes back in. Gets the shutdown as well. Froggy dropping, getting damage dropped down onto him. Celebrity flashing forward. Tried to get the kill onto the Twisted Fate, but the reset comes through for BJ. Looking for Palette. Palette sidestepping quite a lot of this, but will fall. Dredgelight comes through, and the Heartbreaker on top. BJ will find another. And overall, it is 4 kills for 4. And now flashing forward, flawless duet lands. Can BJ get within range to get the kill onto Emperor? Emperor going in, neatly done. BJ though still looking for more, and Emperor has nothing to dash back onto.
It's
BJ with a penta kill. I didn't even see that one coming.
I mean, honestly, this guy on Viego is just absolutely illegal. It's if I think of BJ, I think of his Viego, and he's showing it again, and it's so easy for them to get resets. We saw it again and again. The Akali died really quickly in the CC, and then just great reset for BJ. All these champions are so good for him to reset on. The Akali, the Nautilus, the Lee Sin, so much mobility, so much CC to set him up.
But I do want to highlight the fact that SE got so close, and here's how the fight all went down.
Yeah, we saw first good kick, but then also good flash from Shogun to buy a little bit more time to bait 2T deeper in, and here we see BJ getting the first reset, then going on towards Palette, sadly missing his E on the Akali, but still getting reset, then being able to run down Celebrity, and in the end, Emperor tried his best to escape, but there was nothing he could do. It was just in the 1v1, he had too little HP to actually do anything against this Viego.
And I feel like maybe it's a case for SE that they need to start turning their attention, turning their focus, and realizing that they're not meant to be chasing or trying to focus down onto a Twisted Fate. They have to get on top of BJ's Viego. They have to be able to prevent him from getting these resets.
Absolutely, they have to. And I think if this team fight doesn't show that to them, then, well, nothing will really. But I think they will have gotten the message now, turning on to BJ. Maybe also letting 2T run a bit of rampant in the backline, because he only has one item. He's not dealing that much damage. So if Celebrity positions himself well, then I don't think that Akali can do too much against him. And just turn everything on BJ. Make sure that this guy just immediately dies. And I think you can do it well.
And right now as well for SE, things get a bit worse when you consider the item point. Celebrity having completed their first item, now into that power trough as a Caitlyn. Shogun already on 2 items, and Celebrity hasn't played this particularly badly, but Shogun just being able to, I think maybe got shut down or something somewhere, has more gold, was able to get quite a few tower plays as well in the bottom lane.
Yeah, he got those platings. He got the global gold, of course, from all these turrets that have actually died. All the tier 1 turrets are down. On the other side, only one has actually fallen for SBTC. Now Herald placed in mid lane. They're trying to beat that tier 2 mid lane turret, which is so important to get more control over the map.
But look at DNK on the flank, has been spotted out. Now a teleport coming through, the focus onto Taki. They get the kick, depth charge, drop down onto Shogun. 2T looking for the play. Where is BJ? Still alive. He's been able to steal away the soul of the Lee Sin. Emperor will fall. BJ will get another kill. SE will be able to get 2 kills, but 3 of their own will fall.
And again, it's SBTC just going too deep, trying to shut down Froggy once again. Why are you going Froggy? BJ was so deep in the fight. I actually thought they would all turn on BJ immediately after Taki died, but then they ended up not going for him, going for Froggy. And that just means he turns around the fight again. He gets Lee Sin, he gets Irelia, and you just can't beat those champions when you have a V-Gold on top.
15 kills to 10. Saigon Buffalo in the lead. They have 2 Drakes. There is a Baron up, but they can't look for it just yet. They're slowly but surely extending their goal. They seem to be in complete control of this game, as here's a replay of this fight.
Yeah, and we can see Taki is dying really quickly. And now look at Emperor. He's not turning on BJ. He's actually going for the backline, which I think he has to be turning onto BJ as well. He's one of the main damage dealers for his team, and he can actually tank a decent amount as well. And when the other members are hitting him, he goes deep, and that just means BJ does not die, and BJ can just clean up the fight. And it's all about this Viego now. There's so much setup for him, so much CC, so much long-range damage. Just support him getting those resets, and we always have to have our eyes peeled on him, because if somebody is carrying the team fight for Saigon Buffalo, then it's going to be him. And on the other side, I think it has to be Emperor and Celebrity stepping up, making sure that BJ gets shut down with the CC that Pallet brings.
And I fully understand what you're saying about Emperor looking towards the backline, but I want to switch that focus. And I know I've been praising Pallet in recent weeks about how much he has improved from Winter Split, but these depth charges have been focused towards the backline. So my question is, with Pallet having dropped down the L onto the backline, instead of having dropped it down onto BJ, instead of having got the CC onto BJ, as now there is a curtain call, it will get the slow onto Pallet, who is trying to dredge line his way out to safety. Taki looking for a play. Tuti just sitting out of vision, but SBTC will not fall. So going back to my point, is it right for Emperor to look for the backline when Pallet has utilized his ultimate on the backline?
I mean, probably, yes, but it's a team decision, right? You have to communicate that before you have to communicate, okay, if we get any kind of catch, we're going to turn immediately onto BJ. It's still a melee champion. He still has to go really deep, as we see Emperor going in bot lane.
Emperor looking for the outplay. He gets the kill onto Froggy. Does he even care that BJ is around? Now looking to try to heal up off the minions. In comes Celebrity. Can Emperor stay alive? No, he cannot. It'll be a 1-for-1 overall. Dredge line lands, but the Heartbreaker over the wall takes BJ out to safety. That being said, SE are more than happy taking these 1-for-1 trades.
Yeah, and something I want to talk about while the Drake is being taken is the item build of Caitlyn. She built a rapid fire cannon, which in this game I really do not like, because if we look at BJ, look at his items, how much armor he has actually already stacked. You need a lot of Dominic's regards in this game, and he's not going to build it very soon. And if he builds it now, he will have a lot of attack speed, but very little AD, which means your spells basically, so your Q doesn't deal any damage, your W scaling doesn't really do anything. So I think it's just a misbuy here going for rapid fire cannon, because you're going to be hitting close range targets for most of the game.
Yep, and that's how Emperor was able to get the kill, but Harsmed showing up I don't think was needed anyway, as the Baron has been started up. Celebrity has fallen. In fact, when we went onto that replay, we saw BJ aggressing towards Caitlyn, but sadly we cut away from the live feed. But back to Alive and SE are as a 4. Do they look to try to steal this? Well, DNK is playing Lee Sin. If you do want to be able to steal away an objective, Lee Sin is one of the best champions in the game to do that. But Froggy and Taki stepping forward, looking to zone DNK away. Now the Destiny's going to come through. DNK, does he go in? Can he find a way in? The curtain call drop down. DNK just eats up all of the damage, and Harsmed ends up picking up the kill. SE now on the run. A gold card lands, but Saigon Buffalo will be smart. Saigon Buffalo will be sensible. They will not aggress any further. They'll take the Baron, they'll take the kill, and they'll leave with their winnings.
Yeah, and there's a great Baron call here after the one catch they had in mid lane, I think. Yeah, we can see it right now where they just turn immediately on towards Baron, and we will see them now build up control on either bot or top. It is looking like they're building up control on bot lane right now. Fergie has just pushed that top lane and they're moving into bot lane. Set up vision control deep, and then make sure that you can play with your mid wave, with your bot wave. I think you should just play a 4-1 at this point, with maybe Harsmed in the side lane and Froggy just standing between both lanes, making sure he could support both. It's looking like they're actually moving topside, so they have actually swapped sides, essentially, and doing the same play that I just mentioned, just on topside.
Just looking at Emperor's build, 2 items, Harsmed getting towards the 3rd item. This Irelia is fairly strong right now. I don't think it's anywhere near strong enough to be able to match BJ, who now has a Death's Dance as well as a Dead Man's Play, and is an absolute menace. Still yet to die, the only player in the game yet to see the grey screen.
Yeah, that's often something we do not see for Viego players, because they go pretty squishy item builds, but I really like his item build in this game. Death Stance with Dead Man's Play. He knows that most of the damage is coming from AD sources. The Akali really doesn't have any damage for him right now, so I really like his item build, just making sure that neither Celebrity nor Emperor can really touch him in those upcoming team fights. And that just means he is a frontline threat and still can one-shot all in your team, which is basically all you want to have, right? Is a person that cannot die and kills everybody. That's the perfect champion right there.
I think that's a pretty cool thing to have on your team. I'd definitely take that. I mean, you don't even need to have anyone else on your team, just have that one person, really.
Just have 5 Egos, honestly. Would be a perfect team.
Okay,
BJ
BJ has been spotted. There's a Destiny coming through, but this is still a 4v1. But BJ able to jump over the wall. This is some of that movability that Saigon Buffalo have available. Now teleporting to the top lane. The inhibitor has fallen. Was that a teleport? Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah, I mean, Froggy ulted mid lane and then TP back top lane to cover his top side. Just making sure that neither of his team could really be caught out. And good play here overall. I mean, a very good reaction, just taking the top inhib. But in the end, it isn't the wrong decision from SBTC collapsing on BJ there. They have to do something, and collapsing on the single member is the right call. It just didn't work out. He had the mobility and the backup to get out, and TF has a purifier.
There is a reason for this. I forget what it is.
Okay, well, okay. I haven't seen it. And also he has 1-stack mages, which is really funny, honestly.
It's, you know what it is, right? Okay, hear me out. You've got Unsealed Spellbook, you take heal. Bingo. Putrefier.
Yeah. Wild. Okay. I can understand that, yeah. It's a good. I mean, honestly, Morel and Omicron isn't really a better item, honestly. So I can kind of understand it. Now we see Saigon just moving towards bot lane, trying to take more of those turrets. I doubt they can actually go for the inhib here, but good flash here from Taki.
Yeah, the Hex Flash dredge line from Palette. Taki will avoid it, but Emperor going in. He lands the Vanguard's edge, looks to make the play. Taki will fall. Dredge line onto BJ. BJ goes golden. This will buy him some time, but as soon as he comes out of stasis, the focus will be dropped down again. He can't steal away the soul. BJ is dead, and SBTC can take the fight. Flawless Duet or Deadly Flourish will land. Will be able to get the CC. Saigon Buffalo continue to push. DNK and Celebrity on the run. SBTC don't win the fight, but they are able to get the kill onto BJ, and it is 2 kills for 2. 2T now returning into the fray in what is a 3v3. Gold card lands, empowered shock blast, all the damage dropped down in one go. 2T on half health, misses the shuriken flip, and Saigon Buffalo will retreat.
Yeah, but they're moving towards that soul. They're moving towards the last Drake that has actually spawned. DNK, I think, is on his way to maybe contest. BJ still isn't up, so there would be Smite versus no Smite. Can he get closer? It doesn't seem likely. And Shogun also has his 4th shot to make sure to secure this Drake. So overall, it is a soul still for Saigon and a better fight outcome for them.
Overall, it is a win for Saigon Buffalo. Sure, it is a 2-for-2 in terms of deaths, but it is now soul in their pockets. That being said, it's not the best soul in the game for Saigon Buffalo. I feel sure it gives BJ a bit of extra tankiness and makes it harder for him to kill. But I also want to bring up the idea of the win condition in 5.5 minutes time. The Elder Drake. If Saigon Buffalo lose a fight around then, which, let's be honest, is not looking particularly likely, all of a sudden SE are completely back into this game.
Did you just use irony that I didn't get, or do you actually think Mountain Soul is bad? That's a big question here.
So, okay, I started off thinking, it's not that good. Then I realized, wait, you want to be able to kill the BJ, and now he's got a Mountain Soul. This is actually not very good at all.
Yeah, it's like the Mountain Soul shield just in every scenario, basically. Like, situational, other souls are better, right? But like overall, Mountain Soul is just so suppressive because you always play into that shield. It's so hard to kill people. You get extra armor and magic resist. It's so hard to play while 2T is already losing so much HP.
Wow.
Wait, what is DNK doing?
DNK has fallen. We talked about how DNK has had much higher highs so far this split, but he still had some pretty bad lows. And right now it's looking like Saigon Buffalo will be taking this game. Maybe a deficit too far for SE to come back from. 2 inhibitors now down, a 10k gold deficit, and 5 members of Saigon Buffalo pushing forward. They've got the super minion waves, but instead they're just going to look towards the Baron.
Yeah, I think it's the right call. You don't have to overextend here. You don't have to run into some random AoE combo that just runs you down. Just take the free Nash. You have two inhibs, take the third one with it, and then the game is essentially over. There's not much wave clear on the side of SBTC, so they will have to really fight at a disadvantage here. It is basically done and dusted. I mean, I don't really see a chance here for SBTC to come back. It has to be a throw from Saigon, and it has to probably be one from BNJ. He has to run it down for there to be any chance for SBTC to win this game at this point.
Now, if this was a restaurant, if League of Legends was a restaurant, right now, Saigon Buffalo, they have prepared the ultimate gourmet meal. All they have to do is hand the food to the waiter and hope that he can take it to the person's table without dropping it. That's it.
That's basically what they have to do here. It's pretty accurate. It's really hard to throw this game away, I think. They really had to work for it. And on the other hand, SBTC, they're still trying to rely, of course, on maybe Caitlyn hitting her fourth item, getting that Infinity Edge up and running to make sure that she can really dish out the damage. But with LDR and the rapid fire cannon, she right now just doesn't have the AD to really hurt people when hitting them.
And now Saigon Buffalo push onto the bottom lane. Wow, so much damage from that Empowered Shock Blast into the Curtain Call. The final inhibitor tower will fall. The final fight will most likely be the last. It will anyway if Saigon Buffalo win the fight as they look to this bottom lane inhibitor. The top lane inhibitor respawns, but Saigon Buffalo won't care. They get the lockdown onto Palette, they get the kill. Vanguard's edge drop down, the stolen dredge line will not land, but the gold card will flashing forward. They get the kill onto Emperor, and Saigon Buffalo are just on cleanup duty right now. DNK's alive, Celebrity's alive. 2T goes golden in his shroud, but dies as soon as he comes out. The Nexus is laid bare, and Saigon Buffalo will take it down. Saigon Buffalo will take game 1 over SE.
Yeah, and we talked about it. How does Saigon really win the game? It's Froggy and BNJ, this mid-jungle duo, just outclassing the DNK and 2T, and I think they've really done